Greetings. Welcome to Speak Nerd and Enter.
All right, welcome to Speak Nerd and Enter. I'm Sean. Over on the far side there is Mark. Mark. All right. And Rich next to me. Rich. Hey.
Aha.
And as always, if there's one thing he's learned cutting hair all these years, you don't have to go to a high-end salon to get a high-end salon quality cut. The K-Man.
Quaffed.
Nice.
If you know what that's from, that's amazing. If you know what that's from one of my favorite scenes. Do any of you know what that's from?
I do not. It's funny.
Always Sunny in Philadelphia, when Dennis is playing the video of him in his room trying to seduce that girl, and he's pretending to cut her hair. You don't remember, do you?
I don't remember
funny.
that episode. I remember a lot of them.
Salon episode.
Is what?
Frank's Underground Hair Business. Is it that one?
No. It's the one where Charlie is deciding that he's going to rule the world because he's playing the World of Warcraft knockoff. And Dennis says if Charlie does that, he's going to blow himself. and Dennis says that, and Dennis ends up doing that in his dream.
Oh my
That
God.
was funny. It was I saw that one the other day again, and I just heard that quote and I thought, there you go. That's
So-
the intro for Kelly.
That's not from one of the earlier seasons, though, right? That's one of the more.
That was one of the latter seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is an amazing show.
It
That
It is.
is. I agree.
I love that show. Who is your favorite character on that show?
Frank.
Frank?
Yeah. That whole episode is kind of early on. The episode where he was living with Charlie and
Right.
and pooping the bed on purpose.
Right.
Yeah. That was hilarious, man. There's everything about that show. I mean, if you want something irreverent, that show, I mean, it's just all about that.
Yep.
Or when Mac's dad got out of prison. That was
Yeah, I just saw that one the other day. Yeah.
You look at the trajectory of Danny DeVito from Taxi to that, and you say, "Wow,
Not only Taxi, think about him from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah, but I'm saying, that obviously that's a classic and a Oscar-winning performance, not maybe for him, but in general. But just the trajectory of his career has just continued to go up.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if it's peaked yet. I don't think it's peaked.
He's one of, tell me this, do you think he's one of those celebrities who's in Betty White territory where he's just beloved regardless of regardless of politics, regardless of any of that, you just love them?
Yeah. I mean, Romancing the Stone was the one that I first remember him in. And I loved him as I think his name was Louis in Romancing the Stone. It was fantastic. No, Louis was Taxi. That's right.
Oh yeah, that was yeah. I can't remember what his name was in that, but he played a lot of characters where he was just a curmudgeonly, mean, but funny in a salty way kind of character. Like he always played like the rich guy who was what was the one him and Bette Midler where they end up getting divorced or whatever.
Yeah, Ruthless People.
So there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, that kind of stuff. He always played those kinds of characters, or more often than not. Not always, but more often than not.
And he was a penguin.
And the Penguin, but that one.
Oh,
yeah. But
They can't all be
you
winners.
love him. You love him as those kinds of characters.
Performance as Penguin was good. I mean,
It's disgusting.
Tim Burton. It was gross. It was gross.
But him as Frank is just amazing. Yeah.
He's still hitting it. I mean, and of course his performance in Twins with Arnold Schwarzenegger, which is going to have a sequel apparently.
Is it?
That's what I heard was that
With him and Schwarzenegger,
and then a third person added to the mix. Apparently, I don't know if it's going to be a child or a lost sibling or
It would be. It's either a child or a dog. That's the only way that's the direction to screw that up.
But, I mean, everyone likes money. It's like the old Mr. Krabs meme. I like money.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
but Always Sunny, man. I mean, you want to single out a character, and I really like Frank. I like Frank because just the other folks, you're like, I get it. They're young, they're dumb, that they make those. But then Frank comes in the mix, and he just ratchets it up. I mean, just the outlandish stuff he comes up with. But that whole cast works, and they
Yeah.
all work together. It's like you can't have any one segment of it. You need it all together as one package deal because it's just the absurdity is off the wall.
Yeah. That anytime Dennis calls Dee a gangly, bitch, that is gold.
Yeah.
That is just comedy gold. Dennis reminds me of Drew in many ways. How he and it's just makes
Come
me
on.
smile and laugh every time he goes just spirals up to 60 in no time, that kind of thing.
Wound up.
Oh, I love that. But yeah, I love that show. That show is timeless. It is just amazing. But
Yeah, and Charlie's whole production of his whole play to impress
Oh,
that
yeah.
girl. Yeah.
I saw the one again. Again, they were doing a marathon kind of thing of it with when Dennis was running for office and Charlie wrote the speech for him to read in the commercial. And Dennis saying, I don't want to read it. There's horrible misspellings in here, and the words are out of order, and it doesn't make sense. And then he read it anyway.
So,
Oh my God, that was funny.
I-
And Charlie mouthing it as Dennis is reading it like it's some genius speech. It's just it's great.
so I
Anyway.
just took a look at his bio. Did you know that him and Rhea Perlman are separated but not divorced since 2019? I did not know that.
I thought they had divorced.
I
How
thought
about
they
that?
divorced.
They have not filed for divorce, but they are separated and have been for 6 years. It's very odd. So, I mean, you figure, but apparently they have 4 kids between them and were together for
Yeah.
40 years. Yeah.
Well, actually, that makes me feel a bit better. I always kind of hoped they'd, or wish they hadn't broken up. That just seemed like it was kismet for them. Carla from Cheers and Louis from
Short.
Taxi. So, it's nice to know that there's still the chance they could reconcile.
Well, apparently they say they're better friends now than when they were together. So perhaps.
Oh, well, maybe that's why they don't want to. Maybe that's why they don't want to, finish the divorce, is they
Well, plus
kind of like the idea of, having that possibility. That's nice.
Yes.
That's nice. Good for them.
There you go. There's some good cheer for the day.
Yeah. Hey, what do you guys think about the whole? Speaking of good cheer, what do you guys think of the whole merging of Hulu and HBO?
Well, what do you think about the merging of HBO or Warner Brothers, HBO, and Netflix, which just happened?
Netflix. Excuse me. Yeah, Netflix. Sorry. Yeah.
I think it's I mean, yeah, I think it's crazy. I think it's like, oh wow, we're getting down to the singularity, the entertainment singularity at this point.
Mhm.
We're down to what, 2? Disney and Netflix.
Well, I'm kind of glad of that because I was tired of I am tired even now of all the streaming services.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's just, it's annoying having they got maybe one show that you might be interested in. And you're debating, okay, do I want to shell out this,
Why I get Apple.
right.
Godzilla
Yeah.
show.
Right. That's that kind of thing, and that's just frustrating. I don't like that. So I'm kind of digging all of them merging together. Remember, we talked about this a while ago, how this is how it was going to end up.
Yeah, the
They were-
singularity.
Yeah, just this huge variety of all these streaming services, and there was no way that was going to end up
They're all
surviving.
broke. They're all
Yeah.
broke on their own. They can't survive. So they're like, oh well, we're going to be right back to where we were.
Right? Isn't that strange how it went back to just a handful of real services? Let's call it that.
Cinemax, Showtime, HBO as were the old ones. That was the old.
Yeah, but it
collective
was
now.
it was the dynamic that everybody wanted to break away from cable. Why am I paying a couple $100 a month or more for I should just be able to buy what I want. Then you had all the streaming service start to develop. So you want to buy what you want. Here's how to do it. Now it's all going back the other direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they priced themselves out of it. You know, they all tried to
Oh,
take
yeah.
a bite of that apple, and they
Oh,
couldn't
Amazon. I forgot
charge.
Amazon too. Amazon too. So we do
Yeah.
have 3. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, they all wanted. Remember, they wanted to charge a very small fee to get everybody enticed going in, but none of them could sustain it. So here we are. You know,
Pull you
I don't
back
know. I just
in.
thought it was weird. Yeah, I thought it was weird.
Just like Godfather 3.
But do you think that's gonna honestly? Do you think with Netflix, if they end up going through with this deal, do you think it's actually going to do anything to right the Warner Brothers stable, or do you think it's gonna? Could it make it worse, or what do you
With
think?
Netflix? No.
I
Yeah.
mean, I think right the Netflix.
I think it's going to
table.
be really hard to make anything worse than,
Yeah.
than what we've been seeing. It's been failure after failure on this, that, and the other. And what we're
give 'em
really,
time.
I think, looking at is the old school versus new, right? So Amazon Studios, Apple, Netflix, you can put in there. They're not this old time Hollywood studios, right? Their new streaming came along, and DVD sales went away, and now it's all streaming. And they're like, hey, we can make our movies and put those out. And Hollywood doesn't like Netflix, right? Things that go on Netflix don't get nominated for awards.
Right.
You have to put it through the movie theater system, which is a whole separate topic. But you know, old school Hollywood hasn't been getting it done. I'm not saying that Netflix, Apple, and the new guys are getting it done, because we've seen Rings of Power and we've seen a couple of things that are terrible, but we've seen a few things that are really, really good. Also, that's true of both systems.
Yeah.
So from my standpoint, I'm like, you know what, like, let it happen. I don't think there's a compelling reason to jump in here and go, oh, you guys you can't buy up this property, or you can't buy up that property. Like, whose interests are we serving by trying to stop that? If they're going to go out of business alone, okay, that's a thing. And they're like, oh, what if we merge these two businesses and then they go out of business? Then, you deserve to go out of business because you didn't provide what the public wants or what your customers want, right? Yeah. But if they merge and it goes gangbusters, and the new thinking of say, streaming service providers is like, no, we need to provide X, Y, and Z, and they pivot and give us what we want at a price we want to pay, mazel tov, like, knock yourself out. But I don't see a compelling reason to jump in and stop it. Like, why? I guess is the question. I would say, like, why do we care?
Well, I think
it's a hot mess now. Is it going to be a hot mess later, or is it going to be a warm mess?
I think I'm actually on your side of things, but for a slightly different reason. That I feel like, what's it matter? They really, is there anything there that I'm really, really super attached to, that I'm like, oh, this is going gangbusters, I'm just afraid they're going to screw it up, or anything that I think they could make worse than what it was before. And I can't think of anything. I can't think of anything that I'm really thinking, don't do that. That's going so well right now.
I don't know. I think they could. I think they can always find a lower place to fall.
Yeah, I think what they're really trying to do is the same thing like Hasbro has done. It's like, oh, we have a chance to buy up these intellectual properties. They happen to come with a movie studio, or they come with a toy brand, or they come with some comic books or whatever. You know what I mean? It's really an IP consolidation that happens to be done by companies that make movies, right? In the same way that IP consolidation is done by this big company that makes toys, right? So that I could maybe do without, but we can't stop it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what are we going to come up to people and say, no, you have to take this IP and sell it individually to someone else? Like, that's not really how that works. So
no, it's not. It's not. And like I say, I really can't think of anything that I'm just, really super worried about them screwing up. It's just kind of mediocre, fair, not even fair to middling, a bit below that. And so I can't really think of anything. I'm like, they're going to mess up, Sopranos is done, and Curb is done, and all of that. So it's really just reruns with that. But
I don't think Netflix is going to mess anything up. Netflix, in my opinion, has a long history of making interesting shows that they then lose interest in and decide to just stop like mid-season. So, I agree with Mark's point. Intellectual property consolidation, sure. but they're gonna Netflix it, and that's it is what it is.
Has its own Netflix.
Has its own Netflix. It's well said.
It's got its own appellation. It's been Netflixed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. What do you do you think all of this is really where do you think all of this is going to dovetail with games? Because you have the two disparate types of entertainment, that are really the two pinnacles of that entertainment peak, if you will. Which one do you think is going to take the lead going forward? Do you think it'll be the I don't know if you'd call it more immersive? I would, but I don't know if others would. The more immersive experience of the video game, or the more third person kind of sitting back watching everything, traditional method?
I mean, I think that they're probably. I see where you're going with it. I think you'll probably have some merging of the two, especially with artificial intelligence, where you're basically be able to have a choose your own adventure type show where it's kind of like the game where you get to make decisions about where the plot. You might and have a crafted personal experience of a program, but it's all shaped around some sort of theme or story that you put yourself into, or you could watch. You get the choice. You could either be part of it, or you could pull yourself out of it and watch for a third person view. Maybe something like that. Kind of the omnisphere of entertainment.
I wonder if AI is going to be able to do that sort of thing. I wonder if it will.
I think it's going to be able to do all of those things and more than we can even imagine. I feel like right now we're in that Max Headroom late 80s, early 90s CGI version of AI, right? AI right now, you get all these stupid videos and some of them are hilarious and some of them are like, oh, I see what you did there. And, it's easy to spot in a lot of the commercially available stuff that you and I have access to.
Getting harder.
But go 10 years and turn that stuff up to 11, and now it's like, hey, we know what Sean likes, we know what Rich likes, we know what Kelly likes.
No,
like, hey, I want a Star Wars movie where I get to play a Jedi or a Sith, and I'm going to be in the middle of it. Put on your VR goggles, and now you're watching a movie, playing a video game. God forbid we get any of the 3D tech.
Jack in,
Jack in. I mean, don't get me started. So I think everybody is technology goes fast, and we expect it to go one place, but it never goes where we see it from our current perspective, right? If you go back to the 1800s and they ask people, what's it going to be like in 100 years? And, they get some of the things right, but they're basing it in kind of the world that they know. I'm looking at some of the graphics and some of the things that's happening. It's, I don't think we can. I think this is going to be the death of movie theaters, or the death of movie companies, I guess is what I meant to say. And it's going to be a complete change of video games. Like entertainment, I think, is going to merge and change. And I don't know if that's a near-term thing. I don't think it's, 5 years out that everything super changes. But 5 years ago, you and I weren't accessing AI apps on a daily basis to do things. And today we are. You know what I mean? So a lot can happen in 5 years. Definitely a lot can happen in 10. But then you get lawyers involved, and it's like, who owns the IP to Bruce Lee? So we can have Bruce Lee movies. There's going to be a big mess on the legal side of what we can do. I don't know if it's going to be good or bad, but I think we're looking at an industry. Part of the consolidation is the old ways of doing things aren't working anymore. You no longer have this. We're going to make a bunch of money at a theatrical release, and then we're going to make a bunch of money at a DVD release. Now it goes straight to streaming, and they make not much, apparently. So things have to change.
I think, sure, there's change, but I think the adage that the more things change, the more they stay the same comes into play. Because I think that all you really change is the vehicle. Like the material itself doesn't, or the endeavor doesn't. I mean, if there's a break away from the standard gaming console into something else, sure, but it's still gaming at the end of the day. And then it's just, what's the way in which you consume it. So, I mean, I don't know. Is it the death of something? Is it just a mild metamorphosis of something that ultimately amounts to nothing? What's like what was written in the Shakespeare play, that life is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing.
Sound and the fury, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just, I don't know. I mean, I look at it and it's like, who knows what's going to happen? I mean, because you think that all this progress is going to happen. I mean, with the advent of the internet, and everybody's like, the information superhighway, but all it does is it's just a vehicle for everybody to get dumber. It's like, okay, so we go through all this consolidation. What's ultimately going to happen? Who knows? I mean, everybody wanted to get away from cable. You got all the streaming services, so now everything's consolidating back into the entertainment singularity of what would essentially be a cable service. So I mean, everything's going to go full circle at some point. I mean, all we change is the way that we dress while we consume it.
Right. Well, I'm looking at it on the other side of it. You're thinking as a consumer. I look at it as like, of all the business models out there, making entertainment, whether that is movies, television, or video games, is incredibly expensive. It's incredibly slow. It is bloated, and everything costs 10 times more than it should. So that's one of the things I'm factoring in when AI comes along and they're like, "Hey, we can make this movie and render that mess up in 15 minutes," right? Because you hear about these small movies. Oh, we made this for $33 million. And I'm like, I'm not sure I'm going to make $33 million in my entire lifetime, right? But they're just like, oh, yeah, we made this movie and it was $33 million. Why is it $33 million to make some buddy comedy movie, right? Like what goes into all of that? And I'm not here to pick all that apart. I understand some of those expenses and whatever. But if there was ever an industry that was rife for, some disruption and some consolidation and a change in the way things are done, I think the creation of entertainment fits that bill.
Mark, Mr. Krabs. I like money.
Well, but see, that, funny is true, and there is that part of the business aspect of it, is how do we make money at the thing, and then how do we squeeze more blood from the stone?
The only purpose for business is to increase value of investors in the business. I mean, that's what it's for.
And it's modern iteration, sure.
Yeah.
But then there's this idea that there is a limit even to that.
Yeah, I think it's hard to predict. I don't know which way it's going to go. And there's no way that, in all honesty, I think we can all agree that there's no way to get an unbiased advantage of what that might be. Everyone's got some sort of bias that's going to play into it somehow.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with it, And we don't know how truly intelligent it's going to be. We don't know how wise it's going to be in being able to use that in,
It'll only be as intelligence. Well, it's not true, because it becomes progressively more intelligent. But I mean, the people that, as we've seen with AI and some of the skewed answers that you get out of it, it's only as intelligent as who is initially programming it. Now that can change based upon its development and its collection of information. So it gets smarter than the people who made it.
Ideally. Ideally it does. But see, that's
get dumber.
Well, you can accidentally make a straight edge without ever meaning to,
Yeah.
So it's possible that in the coding that someone makes something that is able to evolve or change into something that can self-replicate or improve or whatever. And we just don't know. We don't know what it's going to end up being. There are questions that I've had a long time about it. Like, if you don't give it a impulse to do something, will it do anything? Will it just sit there without any purpose?
This is not
Perfect logic, but no emotion to drive them to something. You know what I mean? Or will it not? Will it actually create its own? Will it? I don't know what it's going to do. I have no idea, and I don't know. Like, for instance, when talking about the gaming thing, I wonder sometimes, would it be able to game master a game for, let's call it that. I realize it may well be a different experience, but let's just call it game mastering, right? would it be able to GM a game for disparate groups, like whatever group you play with on Thursday versus when we get together and do our thing is a very different experience. Will it be able to do both of those, and how well, and all of these things? I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with that, and so many different aspects of society that go along with it. That's a whole other conversation as to how the architecture of society will change. But as far as the creativity and stuff, entertainment, gaming, all of that, man, that's a tough one to.
I
That's really tough to look into the future and see.
I think it'll be like everything else. People will have their dalliance with it until it collapses under its own weight of its own
Mm.
inability to maintain itself. Right? Like it's the
Like the
idea.
internet did.
It's the idea of entropy, right? Everything will fall apart. Everything starts to dissolve into some sense of chaos, right? It can't maintain order forever. And so, yeah, I mean, it is what it is now, and it's interesting to us because it's a change in how we consume life around us, but it's not permanent. I mean, and there's some iteration of something down the road that's going to alter even it.
Well,
and-
that may actually exist out there already, right?
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
It's
And it'll
certainly
be something
possible.
goofy. I mean, it'll be replacing all of this with something that's very rudimentary and fundamental. And it's like, what's better than everything else? Pencil and paper. And everybody's going to run to pencil and paper like it's the new panacea of life's problems.
Mm.
But is it? No.
It'll come back in style like bell bottom jeans. Is that?
Well, look at what they did. So let's put it back to our frame of reference. Look at what they did with Warhammer Fantasy. So Warhammer Fantasy for years was developing up until Warhammer 8th edition, and then they said we're ending the world and we're starting Age of Sigmar. And Age of Sigmar came out. Some people liked it, some people didn't, and it was supposedly, we've improved upon this, we've improved upon that, and it developed, and now where have we gone back to? The old world.
Yeah.
We're right back to square base.
Because
Right, but Age of Sigmar hasn't gone away.
I
No.
understand that. I'm saying
They put it on the shelf, let it age, and brought it back for the nostalgia bait.
nostalgia bait, or the fact that initial thing that they did was still viable. They just decided we want to make something better or improve it, or they couldn't see
I
a
don't-
way to.
I don't think it was viable. That's why they killed it, because 40K was taking all the sales. There was a fraction of the sales. My understanding is that they killed Warhammer Fantasy Battle because it didn't have the legs to make the money given the investment they were putting into it.
Maybe.
So they went with a
Should've
40K version of Fantasy, which is what Age of Sigmar was.
They should have put everything on motorcycles. That would have taken care of it.
Yes. And bring back the Femir. The
Yeah.
Femir would have saved them because they have their backstory is awesome.
Yeah.
Everybody, I keep seeing guys refer back to the Femir because they still do exist in
Yeah.
the world, and they say, their backstory is a little problematic. I said, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So is the Chaos Dwarves, what we just had them introduced. So modified, but still.
Yeah, I don't know which way it's going to go, but I suppose it'll be interesting to see, or at least I hope it will. I hope it will.
That was very
who knows,
deep,
man?
very deep for our little.
Yeah, deeper than I
Nerd
expected
fuck.
going in with the intro.
Well,
I didn't
You
think
know.
we were going right there.
Hey,
but that was
you know,
about my
a lot
question.
of-
Hey, what about this merger?
listen,
Well, it's
I
gonna
will say
blend into
this.
Kelly's discussion. So.
This is the thing that I love about the example of Sonny in Philadelphia, okay, to bring it full circle there, is that Sonny does something beautiful that I think maybe a couple other TV shows and maybe a few movies have done, which is to both lampoon and comment on very, very deep and divisive ideas and arguments in society writ large throughout history in a way that is so stupid and fun that you both are intrigued and entertained at the same time.
Gentlemen
And
Broncos.
What's that?
Gentlemen Broncos. Gentlemen
Well-
Broncos is another example.
Well, but you get what I mean with that,
Yeah.
I think, right?
Absolutely.
And so, talking about something as stupid as, or that's unfair. something as creative as Always Sunny in Philadelphia is the perfect example of not being able to predict where all this stuff is going to go, because
yeah.
you couldn't have predicted a show like that 100 years ago. You couldn't have predicted where
No,
things
I
are
mean,
going to go.
look, you couldn't have predicted that Always Sunny in Philadelphia would be a thing 10 years
Yeah,
ago. Like that
yeah.
show
Or
exists
now.
as a counter to everything else going on around it. And
Yeah,
so, I mean, your point perfectly valid. It is the outlier to everything else, but it's always that outlier that sits out there
yeah.
that challenges everything else around it. And so
Yeah. So
I'll do
anyway,
the meme for you. Perfection.
but yeah, that's why I always like Dennis so much. Is he reminds me of Drew in so many ways. Just
like, I mean,
and then
the
Let's get
episode of
wound up.
Always Sunny, the episode of Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where Dee and Dennis try to become crackheads so they can get on welfare.
oh yeah.
I mean, how is that? I mean, because you watch that episode and you're like, how is this even allowed to air? But the fact that the beauty of it is that it is allowed to air. The beauty of it is that it exists as a counter to everything else going on in the background around it, right? And
Them sitting on the stoop playing Bismarck. It's amazing. Oh, that
I was
show.
done. Obviously.
So in the entertainment world, since we're reminiscing and we're looking forward to the new Halo, I wanted to ask, what are your favorite moments of that from when it was around before, when it was a thing before? And by the way, let me say something as well before we start with that, just to kind of segue into it a little bit better. I watched some of the campaign for the PR campaign for the launch of Halo 3 and Reach and stuff like. Man, those were good. You don't have stuff like that anymore. You don't have an actual what would you call it? Because it's not just an IP, or I should say, it is what an IP should represent. I
Yeah.
suppose. It doesn't feel like you have that kind of thing anymore. Maybe Grand Theft Auto, maybe.
Well, GTA,
Yeah.
what are we at? 7, 6? I mean, so
6.
it's still rolling, but they gap them
They
sufficiently
do.
that people tend to forget from one bit to another.
Well,
I
they
think that's
do,
to
but
their
I'm
advantage.
talking about the campaign of not just the game itself, but also the campaign around it. Everything that encompasses the universe and the launch and
Yeah.
all that stuff. And I just remember like Halo Reach with the Deliver Hope thing. That was really powerful one. Or Master Chief as a kid in the grass talking to that girl, wondering about life up there, looking at us, and all that. Just so much stuff they had that, man, you don't see that anymore.
Well, I think part of the problem is, and this is across all sorts of things, movies, TV, video games, that you have people working on the projects that don't like the projects. It's a job. They don't have any investment in making it good because they don't really care about it. It's just a insert product here, next product, insert product here, next product. I
Yeah.
think there's a lot of that now in a lot of development studios that people don't really like what they're working on. They're just there to do a job and they do it to the best of their capability, but you can't replace that love of a passion of an IP with efficient work. It's not the same. You need both at the same time. I think that's part of the problem, honestly.
Mm.
Well,
Do you think?
I fully agree with you, Rich. It's the idea that once you get away from the foundation of a thing, the founder of a thing, then the more it becomes difficult to capture any sort of spirit of it. Then it is just a function of its own being.
Yeah, look at The Witcher. The Witcher is a great example.
Do you think we'll ever see to get to your point about things coming full circle? Do you think that we'll ever get to a point again where we have epics of that nature? Because
Sure.
we did kind of see that in movies, Ben-Hur to Gladiator, and that. So there was a
No, there is.
Oh,
See, that's the thing.
oh.
It never goes away. It's still there. And the way I look at video gaming is that at the time we started playing, I mean, because we're coming into this with the advent of video games. You know, that
Yeah.
was our lives,
Yeah,
and
we
we
had
saw that
Ataris.
develop. And then our kids grew up watching us play video games, and so there was sort of this different consumer avenue for them into this world. But
Mhm.
I think, like, because you saw you know, that what they, you know, the Halo thing ran its course, and then they came out with Master Chief, the Master Chief collection, and they botched that release, and this kind of thing. So I mean, there's still a market for it, and I think what it does is these things continuing to exist invites those folks who didn't have that experience the first time around or were disconnected from it. They have that nostalgia now. They're now the consumers. You and I are not the target consumer for
Mhm.
this avenue, right? But this is like, hey, you guys remember watching this when you were kids, and don't you want to play it now? And here it's got this updated graphic. So I think there's still a market for it, and I think this is a test to see how big is that market potentially. You know, do
Do
we
you
do
think
even
it?
more of this?
Do you think it shows maybe a sign that something, I don't know how to phrase it, that at least some of them realize the making an appealing IP is difficult, and
Yeah.
thus the need to go to the older series rather than making a new one? Just,
Yeah. I mean, because to Rich's point, you need that. I mean, you need a personal interest to come up
Need
with
that
that. I
fire.
mean, the guys who came up with Halo, they had a personal interest, you know.
yeah.
You know, and so it is that you need that, and a lot of folks when they get to the money aspect, you know, what Mark was talking about earlier, uh, you just want something that earns that money. You
Mhm.
you
Plus, there
don't
was
have a personal
competition.
interest.
That
Yeah,
was the thing. There was competition. Battlefield, Halo, Call
yeah,
of Duty, all those things were competing against each other. This is the best one,
Gears.
all in the same space.
Yeah,
So, and that doesn't happen anymore. Like you said, Sean, everything kind of merging into one. Like this is the resource, and when you get that, it gets stagnant because there's no competition, right?
Mhm.
So, why would I get better at this? We're the only choice. Right?
Well, I wonder if and Mark, I'd love to have your opinion on this because you're a small business owner yourself. If you don't have the creative fun doing what you're doing as a business person, does that itself drive you to find something that's got that scratches that itch? Even if you're not artistic, you're involved in an artistic field. Don't you want to have that feeling of being a part of something like that rather than just a bottom line at the end of the quarter? Or is it all about the bottom line at the end of the quarter? I don't think that the people who are business people actually just sit there, not all of them anyway, sit there and think all the time about just how much they're bringing in, what the revenue is. That there must be some desire to be a part of this project on some creative level, even if you're not on the creative side of things. I would think, I don't know if I'm phrasing that right. Does that make sense?
No, I think I know what you're saying. Like humans don't clock into work every day and think, okay, time for me to make whatever I make on a daily basis, you know, and they don't have any interest or thought or care about what they're doing, right? For some people, yes, it is a job. I go to a job every day. I'm in the IT field. I'm not creatively passionate about what I do in the IT field, right? It pays the
Mhm.
bills and I have some skills and people are paying me for it. Yay. Right. But me doing the other things that I do on the side are creatively fulfilling, right? And so when you get to the, you know, yes, you could hire a CEO or a CFO for Games Workshop who's not a war gamer, right? And they're more focused on the money, right? They're like, oh, what did we do last quarter? What are we going to do next quarter? We have shareholders that we have to answer to. Small businesses don't typically work that way, right? It's a 1 to 6 people who are running the thing. Maybe they got some employees and it gets to 10 or 12, 15, whatever. And you know, they're engaged in the core business, whatever that core business is. It's only once you reach, I think, a certain level of business that now you're bringing in unrelated people who are not passionate about the business. They're passionate about the cash flow of the business, if that makes sense. I don't think that applies to somebody like, I own a t-shirt business and I make funny t-shirts and I'm not making enough money selling funny t-shirts,
which we're
all
wearing,
I can be
by the way,
is cash flow. You know what I'm saying?
which you're seeing right here.
I didn't hear that comment.
So what you're seeing right here, armorclass10.com. Go get all your awesome shirts.
But I mean, Mark, you're a smart guy and you're business oriented. If you wanted to, you would be a part of something much, much larger. I have no doubts. I have no doubts because you have the drive for that. You have the skill set for that. You have the mind for that sort of thing. But you willingly keep yourself in something that's more creative that way, because I think you would hate just going for bottom line, bottom line, bottom line. And I just wonder if those who are in the, entertainment field are maybe not as far to that side of the curve as you are, but would like to be. I just don't. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's just a larger proportion of them who just want to, get something because it's Star Wars and they figure it's going to be $1 billion until they run it into the ground. And I'm sure I'm positive there are those who are out there who are like that, but I'm just talking about the vast majority of them. I would think that they would want to be able to look back on something and have both money and creative success.
Yeah, well, isn't that the goal, right? You want to do something that is creatively fulfilling and make enough money to support yourself at it. Like, isn't that what every, YouTube streamer and Twitch streamer wants, right? They want to be able to like do the things that they enjoy, playing games, whatever, but also make a living at it, right? I mean, I think that's what we all want to do, the thing that we love, right?
I want to struggle. I want to live on the edge.
All right, well, it's working.
It's working. Job well done.
Well, let me ask you something. What's since Halo's coming up soon, what's your favorite video game moment?
I've been thinking about this all week since Kelly put that out, and
I can start.
Were you talking to me or were you talking to Rich?
No, any of you. Rich piped up, so go ahead.
Yeah, so mine's not a particular moment. It's a particular thing that we did. Is I love driving the Warthog in Halo.
Mm-hmm.
I love driving you guys all around. Some people would find that to be, you're just you're chauffeur for everyone. We have so much fun. I love sliding that thing into masses of troops and you guys on the back blasting stuff with the cannon. And
there is skill in driving the Warthog.
There is a lot of skill in driving the Warthog.
That thing is made of compressed gasoline and helium and has no traction.
That's right. Those helium-filled tires.
So I love doing it, and if that's the contribution that I give to our little band of warriors, is that I'm able to drive the Warthog around, that pleases me. But we've had so many fun times where we just, someone is really pressed behind a shield or something. All of a sudden, a Warthog honking its horn comes sliding in, and guys just go bing off to the side.
Yeah,
always fantastic. Or hits our own guys and they go off to the side. But either way, it's still fun. So that is some of my favorite moments. That and the Ghost from that game in particular. Wrecking teams to the point where they start to cry and complain. It's like, it's not fair.
Well, let me ask you this first of all. Do you think Halo had the most enjoyable moments of all the stuff you've played?
It's a toss-up for me between Halo and Borderlands. Borderlands I've had a lot of fun with as well, at least up to Borderlands 2, maybe into 3. But that was more of trying to get the thing, whereas Halo had much more of that team experience where we had a lot of fun in Call of Duty and some of the other games too. But with Halo, we always had that great team dynamic where we would get together and it was always, everyone was doing their part or failing at their part, but whatever.
Well, the thing I think about Halo, to hit on the point you just brought up, because there is a different feel. With Call of Duty, the game design felt more businesslike because it was very much, okay, you survived this round, we're going to throw more at you. Okay, you survived this round, we're going to throw more and make them faster. Okay, you survived that one, we make them more, faster, and tougher to kill. And then, you're weaker, and then on and on and on until finally you can't win. With Halo, it was, and that felt very much like a GM who just wanted to beat his players, And with Halo, it felt like, here's a challenging design I made. Go in and have fun. I want you guys to beat it any way you can figure it out. And it felt like that rather than being on tracks.
Yeah. It was very open world, and very much when we went in as a team, it was our team against their team, much more so than both teams against the game, or us trying to beat some, like you said, some escalating mission where things got worse and worse. And it was always fun. It gave you the opportunity to really pit your skills. And what Kelly brought up, like with the Warthog being kind of wonky, it had enough of that. Things weren't 100%. Things could go crazy, and that made more fun moments because, oh, look, the Warthog's spinning in space this time. There was a charm to that the other games, because they were more professionally assembled and rendered, that you didn't get in those.
How many times did those?
A good way.
How many times did those waddling, exploding flood?
Yes.
Cause unintended deaths.
Yes.
As we were riding for the Pelican.
Yeah.
Bloom. But stuff like that. That's that kind of. I don't want to say sloppy design. It's the.
It's not as creative.
It was but it was charming. It had its own charm that you.
Well, no. Are you talking? Because I thought no. What I'm saying is the other stuff was not as creatively designed. The Halo stuff felt like, because you go through a level, you go through all of these levels, and even at the last level, it's the same enemies you fought in the first level.
Yeah.
The design of the level is different, the layout's different and all that, but it's the same story, same world, same enemies and all of that. The challenge is essentially the same all the way through. It's just, here's our design, here's our map, do your thing.
The environment, the environment was much more the enemy than even the enemies sometimes. Like mastering the environment, and there's, trying to get faster at certain things, like for capture the flag. How fast can we capture the flag? What's the best route to take? What's the best tactics to take for where I went?
Yes, you did.
It's thinking about it. All right.
Yes.
But
there you go.
We used to do well, I'm going to go over here. We used to have the little pre-game. Okay, I'm going to go over this side of the map. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And it was so immersive in the way that we had to interact with each other, and we got to actually see it in real, because we didn't know what they were going to do, because there's always a random assemblage of people coming in.
Yeah.
And it was very satisfying to hear them cry.
Yeah.
So that might be a bit masochistic, or sadistic, but
they just had some fun. Remember rocket bikes?
Yeah.
Remember that? That stuff like that is just stupid but fun.
Or what was the ball game that we played? The hammers.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
The arena ball.
The thunder hammers and the ball.
Thunder hammers and the ball. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that stuff. We've had blast with that too. Guys exploding and going off the map.
I think the element to that is who you play with, because I played multiplayer in all these games by myself, or just in community settings, right? And all I keep coming back to is, oh man, I wish I had the full team of the guys here.
Yeah.
Because not only do I think we could dominate, but we'd have a hell of a lot of fun doing it. There's an element when you're just solo in some of these multiplayers, when you're just like, okay, I'm choosing to grind this out, and I don't know why. And so there's that element to it. I think the game is enhanced based on who you play with. Mark,
Yeah.
I'm curious though. I want to know your answer because you said you were thinking about it all week after I brought up the question, or whenever I brought up the question. What is your favorite moment?
Well, it's not a favorite. If I have to point to one great experience, I finished Call of Duty World at War, playing the World War II Call of Duty. Credits are rolling. I'm talking to Megan, and then I stumbled upon the first zombie level, having no knowledge of it whatsoever. I'm like, "What's this?" Right? And so I'm a lone guy. I'm running around in the room. Zombies start coming in. You figure out how to board up the thing. And at one point, I turned around and there was a zombie right in my face. And it scared the heck out of me. I felt like I was in a horror movie or something. And Megan's like looking at my daughter's looking over my shoulder, like, "Oh my gosh!" Right? I literally got startled and like dumped a pistol into him, and so like that was such an experience to come in blind and just discover this bonus level.
Yeah.
And then to see what it turned into, because one of my favorite things was to play, 4-player, on the, what was the map that we always like to play, the one where we see how far we could get.
Reese.
The one with the stairwell,
yeah,
and the wall, yeah.
Like so that was one of my favorite unexpected, like, wow, and it was kind of like solo play, right? But everything else that I'm a fan of is really based on playing the game with my friends,
Others,
with you
yeah.
guys, right? I remember the other end of that thing getting totally trounced by French teenagers in one of these. You could hear these kids speaking French, and they sounded 12, and I'm just like, we just got our asses handed to ourselves by French teenagers. And I don't remember if that was Halo or Call of Duty or whatever, but and then as far as like Halo, I remember on Blood Gulch driving the Warthog through the tunnel that's on the right-hand side and hitting a guy flat out. And I don't know if I died, but for whatever reason, I could see like another view of it from, I could respawn at the little fort, but like a replay of that where the guy went sailing out the back of the tunnel, like flying 100 yards off of the air because he got hit by the Warthog I was driving.
And the ability to video clip it as well. It's like, oh, let's get a clip of that. And then we
that was
save those clips.
that was Halo.
Yeah, I remember one time I was playing, it was one of those like everybody versus everybody things, death match or whatever. And I'm at Sean's house. Sean's watching. I'm circle strafing this guy, and I'm like, "Hey, where'd he go?" And all of a sudden, this blue fuzzy thing covers half of my visual field, and I'm like, so he stuck a plasma grenade on my face. I was like, "Oh man!" I was like, "Where'd he go?"
Party hat.
Like, oh man!
No man,
right? And then, like, one of my favorites ever was that I think we were playing Left 4 Dead. There was 4 of us, and Drew was one of them, and we all are running from these different types of zombies, and we all hide in an outhouse, right? And we're all crammed, as 4 of us crammed in this little outhouse, and one of the zombies like spits acid or something. There's this puddle of acid right outside the door that seeped under a little bit, and when Drew started taking damage, and he panicked. He's like, "Oh my god, we're gonna die! I gotta get out of here!" And we're like, "No, Drew, don't!" And he runs out. He got hit by the bus of a one of those big charging zombies, and it grounds and pounds him. And
it was the
best
like
thing. Something out of a rated R Scooby Doo movie.
That was the best thing I've ever seen.
It's like the first. It's like the first. What is it? The movie about where they cheat death at the very end, where she gets hit by the bus.
Yeah. My favorite Halo moments, and I mean there are many. And see, the thing is, I'm with you, Mari. I don't think it's one particular favorite, but the one that came to mind when I thought of the question, and I've been trying since I thought of the question to figure out what map this occurred on, and I can't remember what map it was. But I'm in the middle of some hand-to-hand combat moment when the guy that I'm fighting just suddenly just flips away, just dies and flips away, and all you hear is very quietly said, "Rom Space Knight," because Sean had sniped this guy while I'm in the middle of hand-to-hand combat. And, I mean, there's so much of that occurred. I mean, there was always those games, especially in Halo 2, where you're in the middle of something and the person you're about to fight or the person you're charging to suddenly just dies or disappears, and you hear "Rom Space Knight," and it's it's either a Spartan laser or a sniper shot or something that's happened. Those are the moments, man. But
Yeah,
I remember,
yeah,
like,
I remember telling people to sit down every time I fired the shotgun at them.
yeah, no, I
Sit
say
down,
that.
boom.
I say that now. Because Dan and I used to play the last iteration of Zombies, not the one in the current version of Call of Duty, but they changed Zombies and Rich played that one too, where
Yes,
where
I
they
have, many times.
they had the different maps and there was a finite number of zombies and you had a certain thing to get to, and that was a lot of fun. But yeah, I mean, I picked up on those phrases. You shoot somebody and you're just like, sit down, and it's
Sit down.
it's no, it's awesome. But I also remembered my first Halo game, where I betrayed Drew I didn't know what I was doing. I threw a grenade and I stuck Drew, and I just threw it blind. And I remember Drew complaining that he'd been betrayed, and I was like, oh,
I wonder who did that. Must have been somebody.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I still remember the first time I ever saw Halo. Sean was sitting in little Sean's bedroom on a little TV, right, sitting on the floor, and there's like Mountain Dew cans all over the TV, right? And he's just sitting there playing, and he's using the plasma rifle, and you know how you gotta like hold it up, and little fins pop out, and it starts to cool down or whatever. And I'm like, what is this? And he's like, oh, Halo, this is a great game,
Do you remember the map Headlong? It was the city setting in Halo, I think Halo 2. And it was that rare moment where we had a full quorum and we're all running around. We decide here's the building we're going to hold. And so we're all running through the map yelling, hut, 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 as we try to get to the building and hold it. It was phenomenal. I mean, the fact when we got 8 people together, it was hard for us. It was hard for somebody to beat us because there's, just the way in which we approached it. That's what made that game so phenomenal. Or
and you never did the LAN parties at Sean's house with the original Xbox, did you?
No, I didn't do that. No.
Yeah, you'd already moved away, but I remember I got a projector and put it in the basement against the wall, and we had like an Xbox hooked up to that, and then we had the main TV in the living room, and then we ran cables up to like Little Sean's room. And we were playing Halo on 3 levels. I remember Robbie was there, and you do the split screen on the original Halo, I think it was.
Yeah. There's LAN parties.
Kids don't understand. Like they miss the kids these days. They never got to like haul their crap to somebody's house and set up a LAN party. That was part of the fun, right? You know what I mean? And then it went online, and that was a lot of fun without having to haul your crap around. But it's just, I think kids are missing out on some of that, like going to GameStop and at midnight for the release of Halo 2 or Halo 3, pick up your game and taking off the next day from work because you're going to play video games all day.
I'm sick.
Or whatever would piss somebody off. I mean, the ones that I remember people getting pissed off, it was always Russ. And it was like there was the one time we had some rando join the because you don't have a full quorum, and some dude joined, and then like the middle of the game I hear Russ say, you can't own your own players. Like I don't know what the dude did or said, but he was just going around betraying everybody on the team, and then like, okay, everybody go kill this ass hat. And so you just go do that. Or playing the zombie levels, and Russ would get irritated that Dan wanted to turn the music on by doing the little Easter egg thing. This shit was funny.
So great we could turn off everybody else's audio except ours. Because you used to be able to hear other people when they were close to you. And
my God. Yeah,
it was great listening to if you snuck up on them.
I'm like, where did these 12-year-olds get? Where are they playing this game that they can yell, slander and cuss words ass?
Right.
That's where the whole
screaming at the top of their lungs all these horrible things. So.
That's where the whole Pink Pistols development came from. Like, we're the Pink Pistols.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the other thing, like changing our gamer tags. So it was like, you were killed by a natural 20. You were killed by
a level 3 bar.
And then we were all characters from Big Trouble in Little China.
Yep. Still the Pork Chop Express. I always will be.
Yeah.
And that's for when Halo Campaign Evolved comes out, that I'm driving a Warthog, and it's like the old Pork Chop Express coming at you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just like it's dumb names. Like who had the name Propane Tank? That was funny.
Yeah, Propane Tank.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember who had
Or
that
Dan
one.
with Crazy
That was
Engine.
no, that was Rush.
Russell
Dan was
broke
Crazy
things out.
Engine, and then now he's Gracie
Dan,
Law.
I still call Dan Gracie Law.
forever. Yeah,
Yeah, Gracie Law.
he's still Gracie Law.
Perfect name. And any game
Yeah.
I get to play with Dan is the best game I've
And
played.
I love how he's always the first one to die on zombies in level 1.
Level 1, they're
Level 1,
guarding
he
one
stands
window,
too close
and
to
Dan's going to
the
hit the deck.
wall.
Gracie
There
Law.
goes Dan.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if we want to talk about that, I'm infamous for venturing out into the line of fire, being destroyed, and needing someone to come get me up. Someone come get me up. Get me up.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite part
Right,
of
and,
playing
and
Call
in a
of
lot
Duty
of ways,
with-
it doesn't matter the game. We've done that a lot with Gears of War,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We've done that. We played. Was it Crackdown? What was that game?
Yeah,
that came out
Crackdown,
with
yeah.
yeah, like
Crackdown,
Crackdown was a little bit. Like I don't care about the game so much as playing it with my friends. You
That's
know what I mean? That to me is I'm not a like mine have a good time. It's like, oh, I've got the afternoon off. Let me fire up this video game and be very frustrated trying to grind to the next level. No, I would much rather
Much rather what?
Wow, he pulled
Mark
it.
Rose.
get mine with you guys.
I was going to say, Mark Frozen. Look at him. He's so jolly there, too.
Well said, cogent point.
Don't keep
Hey,
us in
listen, you're not winning
suspense.
if I'm on your team.
I have to say, Sean's Grand Theft Auto, was it Grand Theft Auto 3 or Grand Theft Auto 4, running around naked or in a pair of underwear
Oh yeah.
with a giant hat on and just slaughtering everybody with machine
Yeah.
guns and rocket launchers, and then jumping up and down and just the image of this naked man bouncing around the screen, laying waste to
Yeah.
everybody. Fantastic. Absolutely.
I
fantastic.
wish-
But all this makes me very much look forward to Halo Campaign of Ball.
Campaign for
Uh,
all. Yeah.
Very much.
Yeah.
Very much. This one I'm really looking forward to. I really hope they get it right. You
I haven't
So much so that I
And
mean,
even the maps feel like old friends. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
You know-
Like, isn't it cool that you get onto a map and you're like, I know this map, and you run
You know, I
around
was
and-
watching. Speaking of your comment about the younger crew getting into it and all of that, I was thinking about that because I saw a video the other day of this dude who was talking about getting to an impossible place on one of the Halo maps, and it was on that one with the where you first go underneath under the ground into the on the original Halo, go underground and you go all the way down to the bottom and then come all the way back up, and it's got that little courtyard where it had the two hunter killers, and it's on that, you come in on a Pelican on the beach and stuff in the beginning
yeah,
part, and it's on that one. And there's down at the bottom of that map, you're able to get or there's a ledge all the way down at the bottom of this what looks like a bottomless pit, and this guy's like, I'm gonna get down to this the bottom of this pit, and I'm gonna figure out how to do it. And all the stuff he did in there, I was like, oh yeah, I remember doing that. Like, he's taking his warthog and he's trying to get it in through this door. It looks like it's impossible to get through, and he finally gets through to the other side. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember we did that. We popped out the other side there, sitting there shooting at stuff. And then he jumps off and tries to figure out, okay, can I get down to this lower one, until finally he figures out if I hit just there's a little angled ledge on each of the little platforms going down. And if he lands right on that angled edge, he lives. And I was like, oh yeah, I remember that too. I remember doing that. And then he finally makes it down to the bottom. And I was like, yeah, I remember us doing that. We got all the way down there. I remembered all that stuff, spending so much time doing stupid stuff like that. Like that one
right.
in the beginning part where you first get the sniper rifle and you go all the way up to the end where you can get that turret, and because the turrets didn't explode in the first game, you could throw grenades at them and move them all the way through the map. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
And so we could move this one turret all the way up this little canyon up to where there's this massive area of all kinds of, Covenant. And we'd sit there and, grenade it up just a little bit further, then, hit it with the butt of the gun to move it up a little further, and then sit there and shoot them all, and, then move it up further and all that. All those things I was thinking, oh yeah, we used to spend all kinds of time just doing stupid stuff like that.
Trying to
Well,
cram
trying to get a
vehicles
vehicle-
through doorways that were just a little too
Yeah.
small.
Doesn't
And
belong. Yeah. This warthog is inside the complex.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a lot of
cool.
fun doing
and,
that stuff.
and those are a feature, not a bug. I really hope that
I
and
agree.
I have faith in the new iteration that they're going to have
It looks good.
lots of ridiculous stuff available.
Well, I saw one of the comments from that same video, or it was one of those, where one of the developers, one of the designers for that Halo game, actually got on there and said, we kind of knew. He said we knew someone, if they really, really, really went to all the trouble, could theoretically do this, and we left it in there because of that. And he said we never thought anyone would actually find it or do it or have the patience to do that kind of thing, but it's kind of cool when you see
You
them
have
do
little
it.
faith.
You
The
know,
original autistic kids.
but I like the idea. I like the fact that he said, they were actually gratified to see some, or not just someone, but people go to that effort and find those things.
Well, it's the same. It's that, but that's been going on since the beginning of video games. Look at Adventure and the hidden dot.
Yeah.
Right. That sort of thing. I mean, it's nice that you have developers and designers who remember the feeling of accomplishing that, and that sort of that you put that in there. I mean, that's what we were talking about before, when enthusiasm, that passion, that love of the thing, based upon a history of loving the thing from childhood to now you're working on things. It's like when I worked at Games Workshop, I went from being a huge fan and then I was doing the thing, I mean, that
then it became work and you hated it.
Well, yeah. Of course, when the whips, when I started hearing, when there's a whip, when there's a way, and they laughed me across the back, for hours. Now, I mean, at the same time,
are you fully encased?
Yes, but now I'm still, I still love the thing. But when we're talking about this, I mean, I haven't touched my video game system. I mean, I have a good video game system. I'm not going to get this.
I can't hear you, brother.
I don't spend time on video games unless I'm playing with the people that I want to play with.
Yeah.
So this game doesn't come out
we're in a
till the
different
20th.
place than we were 20 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, 20 years ago, there was a little bit more. Well, I don't know. There was free time, but it was just we were in different places in our lives 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Like, I haven't put my video game system on in forever.
Probably needs
But
updates.
when the new Halo comes out, I'm gonna make some time.
Yeah.
Well, in all honesty, we haven't had a game like this.
Yeah.
Since then, Halo stopped being Halo to me when you had to pay $20 to get, a possibility of getting some different vehicle or gun or something like that, and it didn't feel the same, man. It just wasn't the same.
That's the other thing about Halo, especially Halo 2 and Halo 3. You didn't need any of that DLC. If with just the standard assortment of machinery and gear that you could get in the game, you could bring up your skill level to such a level with the basic equipment. You didn't need to have anything extra. You didn't have to pay to play. It was all about you getting better with the thing, like getting better with the Warthog, getting better with the Ghost, getting better with the sniper rifle. How many videos have we watched of people making impossible sniper shots?
Yeah.
But the sniper rifle never changed. You got people who were better at using the sniper rifle.
Yeah. You didn't have the Oni sniper rifle or something like that. Yeah, that's true.
And
well, I'm very much looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Mark, did you say you saw a date for it coming out?
2026.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see a date either, other than this year, or next year. Excuse me.
Late.
Yeah.
This upcoming year is all that's out right now. I just checked actually because
well, like I say, the big releases tend to hit right before Christmas. November-ish. So if I had to take a guess, I think it's going to be November next year, but maybe we'll pleasantly surprise.
They like to hit it for Black Friday. They like to get that Black Friday, Cyber Monday sales in. So, but I mean, it looks like there's question now whether they're even going to have physical copies. So there will be no drive to get it. There'll be no people will want to get it because they're.
Well, I'll just be happy that they made it at all.
Yeah.
That's well said.
I'm back. I saw it went out.
Poignant.
Yeah, it's back. I see it's back. I like having a physical copy just so I have it, but it looks like this might be an all digital release.
Yeah.
And they're doing
Yeah.
crossplay with PS5 now for the first time.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So there won't be any excuses.
No, no excuse. Yeah, that was always the excuse. I don't have the right equipment.
Yeah.
Now you do.
Yeah. I wonder if
No,
we'll
the,
be able to.
The Last of Us was the only game that ever came out that I was like, man, I kind of wish I had a system to be able to play that because I've never had PlayStation. I've always had Xbox.
Silent.
But that was like the only game that I was like, oh man, I sure would like to have had a chance to play it. But
I wonder if we'll be able to get any of the other guys to play that one.
We'll just put out the call and see who shows up. I know Dan
Yeah,
will
see
do
who
it.
shows up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Dan
Dan
will do it.
would.
You guys will do it.
Yeah.
Russell, Robbie, Drew.
I don't know. I don't know if Russ would. I would like to think so, but I don't know.
Russell has internet now.
Yes.
It finally caught up to him living in the boondocks.
Caught
So
up to
Yeah.
modern standards. I
Yeah.
don't know. Maybe. I mean, it'd be nice to get the whole 8-man squad back on. It'd be
Yeah,
cool.
time to resurrect old
The
Jack
Pink
Burton
Pistols.
and Gracie Law.
We might have to come up with a new team name, or we can keep the old one. But
Yep. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much. And I guess we'll see you next time.
Peace out.
All right.
This concludes our Speak Nerd and Enter broadcast.